Did you know that producing lots of bad quality output increases your chances of success rather than trying to produce just good quality?
That makes no sense.
I will prove it. I am not kidding. I have data that producing bad quality gives you better quality output than trying to produce only good quality. Okay?
Okay.
Let's start with an example.
Okay.
Jerry Wolzman,
Okay.
a professor at University of Florida, teaches a photography class.
Okay.
In one of his classes, what he did was he split the class into two groups. For one group, he told them work on getting just one good quality photograph and you will be judged on the quality of that photograph.
Okay.
The other group, he said, forget about quality. I want you to submit as many photographs as you can and I will grade you on the number. 100 is an A, 90 is a AB and so on.
Okay.
At the end of class, he discovered that the best photos came from the quantity group, not from the quality group.
What?
Yes, and this has been discovered multiple times by people trying such experiments.
Okay, hold on. If the students were basically told to submit 100 photographs, then what's the guarantee that they took any effort? Because Goodhart's law comes into the picture. The moment you're given a number, you try and achieve that number.
Yeah. So the assumption here is that the students were actually trying to learn photography and not just submitting like random steps. Okay.
Fair.
But these students were not focused on just producing one great masterpiece. They were like, just let me take as many decent photographs as I can. And it just so turns out that one of those decent photographs turned out to be high quality. Whereas the students who were trying to produce a masterpiece spent too much time theorizing, thinking this, that angle and all of that. And then finally, when whatever they picked turned out to be not as good as what the others produced. Right?
Fair enough, fair enough. I accept the results of this, but it still is just one anecdote.
Yeah, I have data, like I said. Okay. There's a guy, Dean Simonton, he's been doing research on quality since the 1970s. Okay. What he did was he researched the top geniuses in many different fields. Okay, science, literature, music, chess, film, politics, military combat. And for each one, what he did was he looked at the creative output of these people.
Okay.
He looked at the age at which each output was created. And then he looked at the quality and the quantity. Okay. Quality means that somebody made a landmark discovery in their field or wrote a paper that is highly cited, very influential, or they got prestigious awards or honors. Okay. Quantity just means number of publications or number of patents or minor works which didn't get an award and so on.
Yeah, okay.
After doing all of the analysis, a bunch of very interesting results came out. Okay, let me explain those.
Please.
First result, productivity peak.
Okay.
Okay, that at the beginning of your career, of course, you have very low quality and then your productivity goes up. 20s, 30s, 40s, you are very productive. And then after that, the productivity goes down.
Okay.
You must have heard this, right? The greatest discoveries happen when people are young. Newton's Principia came out when he was 20s, right?
Yeah.
And so on. And this is true. The data shows that. In poetry, maths, theoretical physics, most of the greatest discoveries were when the people were in their 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
In most other fields, it is 40s, maximum 50s. After that, there is a drop-off. Okay.
Except for this channel. You can see it is an exception.
Yes.
It's an outlier.
Yes. Because I paid attention to this. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So this is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Second result. Okay. The most productive people are the ones with the longest career. Okay. These are the people who started early and they ended late and they were producing something or the other throughout their career. Are the people who also have some of the most and the best top discoveries of the field. So this is like, Sachin Tendulkar.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yes.
Man, we are synced.
Yeah. Third result, and this is the interesting one. Okay, normally we are all under the impression that at the beginning of your career, you don't know how to produce the best quality. You're still learning. At some point, you have now become good. You have the experience and the skill. So now you're able to produce high quality.
Yeah.
right? And then you only produce that high quality stuff, okay? And then the assumption is that there is a drop off after your 40s because your brain deteriorates. That seems reasonable.
It does.
Yeah,
It
but
does.
that is not what the data shows.
Oh, okay.
What the data shows is this. For every person, he plotted how many quality works came out and how many quantity works came out by age. Okay? Obviously, like I said, there is a rise in the beginning and a drop off.
Correct.
That is true of the quality work. The thing is that is true of the quantity work also.
Oh.
Okay. The quality work and the quantity fluctuate together. They go up and they come down together. Okay.
So as you grow older, you also have lesser quantity.
Yeah. Or to say it differently, the time when they produced the most masterpieces of their career was also the time when they produced the most duds of their career.
Yeah.
And later on, when their quality went down, the quantity had also gone down.
Was it the other way around? Was it because the quantity went down that their quality also went down?
Absolutely. That is what the main point of all of this is, right?
So turning that on its head, if I keep producing quantity,
yes,
everything I produce will at some point become quality, right?
Basically, he plotted the ratio of quality to quantity.
Okay.
And that more or less remains flat for most people, right?
Okay.
What that means is that, okay, maybe in the beginning of the career, that ratio improves.
Yeah.
You are able to produce better quality.
Scales up, yeah.
At some point, you reach a certain ratio of quality to quantity and it stays like that. Okay.
Which is different from different people, I'm assuming?
Yes, that depends on how much of a genius you are. But the key is that the ratio remains constant. This means that to produce quality, you have to produce quantity.
And there is one person who's done this consistently throughout his career. That is one Mr. Himesh Reshammiya. He has produced tons of music. Some of it is really good. There is quality in some of that music.
This is true of some other minor musicians also, like Beethoven. Okay?
Minor?
He produced the most hits at a time when he produced the most misses also. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So if Beethoven couldn't produce quality output all the time, what makes you think you can, right?
True.
People are under the impression that once they have success, then they can only produce quality stuff and they are not allowed to produce bad quality stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why the quality goes down later, because the quantity has gone down. People are afraid of having duds. Okay. This is true even of Picasso. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he had 30,000 works in his career.
Wait, 30,000?
Of which only 100 are hits. Okay.
I thought he had a lot of work, but I only was thinking in the hundreds. I wasn't thinking 30,000 of them.
Right.
Wow, prolific painter.
Yes. The greatest people are prolific and they are prolific at duds also.
Yeah.
So that's the key message of this episode.
Yeah. In fact, I'm now beginning to think if people are this prolific, why do they even drop off? Age I understand, but some people drop off earlier also.
Very simple. Okay. That once you are successful, people are ashamed to put out duds.
True.
Right?
True.
So people stop producing.
True.
Okay. Another reason is that, of course, with age, enthusiasm also goes down, right? Naval Ravikant says that young people have more free time. They have less to lose. They have more ignorant enthusiasm, okay? And they want to impress potential mates, okay? Older people have less time because they have a family, a social circle, managerial duties.
Yeah.
They have more to lose, so they don't experiment as much, right? They have experience of failure, so that makes them cautious, right? And of course, they have fewer potential mates to impress. The one is already impressed. Okay?
So, this also explains why George R.R. Martin is not writing his final book. Please, Mr. Martin, if you're watching this, please write that book. We've been waiting for years and years. We've suffered through season 8 of Game of Thrones. Don't do this to us. Please, I want that book. But from anecdote, we have now come to correlation, because that's the most I can see here. There is correlation between quantity and quality that you have established. Is there causation though?
Well, there is plausible causation, right?
Okay.
I can give you a plausible theory as to why this works, right?
Okay.
The more quantity you produce, the more experimentation happens.
True.
And as a result, more learning happens. Check out our episode on deliberate practice. Okay?
Yeah.
The more quantity happens, the more experimentation results in more improvement because you're learning from every mistake.
True.
Right? The more quantity you produce, the more experimentation you're doing, the luckier you get.
True.
We have done an episode on the types of luck. This is luck number 2, active luck.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing is that the more quantity you produce, the more you're doing the same thing over and over again. That is rewiring your brain to be prepared for this, right? Neurons that fire together, wire together, right?
Yeah, you said this in our
Reps.
chunking episode.
Yes, exactly. More reps, repetitions result in physical changes in your brain, and the basics of whatever you are doing become automatic for you, which means your brain now has time to think about the next level higher. That's where the quality comes from, right? The quantity results in automaticity. The automaticity gets you started, and consistency makes you continue it into quality. Okay.
Quality is where usually my wheels get stuck because others may actually follow this pattern. In my case, my quality ends up royally, man.
Right. That means you are a good artist. Okay. Every good artist thinks her quality sucks, and vice versa.
Okay.
Basically, this is a knowledge versus skill issue. Okay. Imagine you are an artist. Okay. An artist's ability to visualize great painting and to recognize a great painting is usually here, and their skill at producing that is lower.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, if your ability to visualize a painting is here and your skill is here, you will still get this level, right?
Yeah.
The reverse is easier. Always, your knowledge and your evaluation is running ahead of your ability, right? As a result, whatever you produce, you always think it is no good.
So my knowledge of what should be achieved is much higher than the skill that I have to currently achieve that. Correct. And that gap is basically making me think that my quality sucks.
Right. Which also means that if there is no gap, that means you're not good, you're not improving. Okay.
Yeah, true.
And with some people, it is the reverse, right? This is the Dunning-Kruger effect. The people who are not good think they are very good. Okay. It can happen to you temporarily, but after a while, again, your knowledge runs ahead and then your skill has to slowly catch up, right?
Yeah.
So basically, message to all of you, if you don't hate your output, your vision, your imagination, your artistic sensibility is not good enough. Okay? Learn more.
Or you're just as bad as I am and there is no getting around it. Alright, so
this is imposter syndrome. We have done an episode on this. Please check that out. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So from whatever you have described, moving on, I'm just moving on. So from what you've described, it seems like I just need to keep producing quantity consistently and quality will follow.
Yeah, mostly. In deliberate practice, we talked about the fact that along with quantity, you also have to be trying to improve.
Yeah.
Okay, that trying to improve has to be there, but that doesn't have to be very intense. Usually, people focus too much on the trying to improve and not enough on the quantity and the consistency, right?
Okay.
So, this gap between intensity and consistency. I'll give an example from James Clear. Okay. Intensity is I need to run a marathon. Okay. Intensity is I need to write a book in 30 days. Intensity is like, oh, I need to go and have a meditation retreat for 10 days. Okay. Consistency is run every day, no matter how much. Don't miss a workout on any day, right? Write every week, right? Just practice some meditation daily.
And put an episode out every week.
Exactly. And the point is that if you have consistency and you just make small efforts to improve yourself, the compounding will catch up and you will produce quality.
Yeah, we spoke about something like this in both the power of compounding and the episode on atomic habits, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so deliberate practice, power of compounding, atomic habits. You'll realize that a lot of our episodes are interconnected. This is not to make you go and watch those episodes and increase our views. This is actually because all of these concepts are inherently connected and they play into each other to make you better or
exactly.
us better in that sense. The only thing is, doing something consistently is very honestly difficult. It is cracking the consistent bit that is difficult.
Absolutely, right? And that part is difficult, but there is help.
Okay.
First of all, read Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
That has lots of little and very useful tips on how to become more consistent.
Yeah.
But I'll give you one or two simple techniques, okay? One is the 2-minute rule.
Okay.
Whenever you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do, okay? 2 minutes on every given day is something you can manage to do consistently, right?
Yeah.
Anything more than that, and you might do it for a few days and then drop off, right? Examples of how a habit can be started as a 2-minute rule.
Okay.
Suppose you want a habit of read every night before bed. Change it to read 1 page every night. Okay?
That takes about 2 minutes. Yes.
Instead of do 30 minutes of yoga every day, just get into yoga clothes every day and take out the mat. Okay.
Takes 2 minutes again.
Study for class. Change that to I need to take out my notebook and open it to the correct page.
2 minutes again.
Fold the laundry. Change that to fold 1 shirt. Okay. And run 3 miles. Change that to you need to wear your running shoes and get out of the house every day. Don't have to actually run.
2 minutes again.
The first 2 minutes should be easy. The actions that follow can be challenging, but the first 2 minutes of the habit have to be very easy to do, right? Your lazy brain will handle the rest, because once you're out there with your shoes, your brain says, "ठीक है यार, अभी now that I have come here, might as well run."
There is one counter example to this that I don't think will work. If you want to learn cooking, don't start by making 2-minute noodles. That is not going to help you get into the habit of cooking. Or
I disagree. If you make 2-minute noodles every day, very soon you will start adding things and you will become a good cook. Okay. Master the habit of showing up.
Okay.
That is why quantity is equal to quality. This is not just a trick. Okay. You can stop after 2 minutes.
Yeah.
On some days, just some days are heavy, you can stop after 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But after a few days, you will get back.
Yeah.
Right? And you will do the whole thing.
Getting
Okay,
back on the horse is important.
Right. It will work. In the long run, it works.
Okay. So the 2-minute rule is one such technique to
Yeah.
get you consistent.
The other technique is something called a commitment device. Right?
Okay.
Basically, force yourself in some way. Okay. Athletes who have to make weight for a competition, right? Means for the competition, they have to be below a certain weight. Everyone is aware of examples, right?
Yeah.
What they do is that they choose to leave their wallet at home so that they're not tempted to buy junk food and eat it. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is Fogat had UPI, so
No, man. France does not have UPI, but let's not go there. That's a very painful episode.
habit expert Nir Ayal,
Huh.
what he did was he attached a timer device to his internet router at home,
Okay.
which disconnects the internet at 10 p.m. That easily breaks the habit of not browsing at night and staying awake. Right?
Ah.
Another way of committing is publicly announcing. Okay. What I often do is that I announce that I am teaching a course on something or the other in, say, October. Okay.
Ah.
That is my cue to learn that topic properly before the date. Okay?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just lazy. Okay, I don't have the discipline to do the things I actually want to do. Like this channel is also the result of a commitment device.
It is.
I wanted a YouTube channel since 2016. Okay, and for 6 years I did nothing. Okay, then I came up with a commitment device. I teamed up with Shrikant and with Video School. And I said, okay, let's do it. Let's start a YouTube channel and we will shoot every Thursday. And I told Shrikant that every Tuesday we will prep our episodes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, because there is going to be a call with Shrikant at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, I'm like desperately, I need to prepare something. Right? All episodes get prepared through the amazing device of last minute panic of a deadline. Okay.
Can you imagine Naveen panicking last minute? Because I can't. Every Tuesday at 5 p.m. he's like the calmest person on earth. This is what we are going to talk about. These are the points, and these are the things that I want to discuss. And then I come up with additional questions for him or whatever. And he's like, yeah, these are. He just knows his shit. I can't even imagine him prepping desperately at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday. But commitment devices. Grab a friend and make them your commitment device.
Yes.
If you want to produce quality, which begins by producing lots of quantity.
Right. So the summary is focus on quantity and minor improvements throughout, and the quality will follow.
Yeah.
Okay. You will always be producing crap along with the good quality stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
This is true of Beethoven and Picasso. It
And-
is going to be true of you.
And Himesh Reshamia.
And use the 2-minute rule and commitment devices to increase your consistency. Right?
True.
Right?
So basically consistency with lots of deliberate practice, with atomic changes in everything that you do, and just keep producing is
And
the
the
secret.
mother philosophy that sits at the top of all of those is Karmanyavadhikaraste.
There you go.
Check out our episode on Karmanyavadhikaraste. It will teach you about consistency.
Yes, it does. And if you want to know how, you know where to go. This is me, Shrikant. That's Naveen. Future IQ.